Okay, so now we are commencing our third class named Bhava or house. Okay, so we will start it with a prayer to Ganesha. Okay, so here we go. Gajananam Bhutganati Sevitam Kapidajambufala Sara Bhakshanam Umasutam Soka Vinasakaranam Namami Vikaneshwar Pata Pankajam. So, Bhava, that means house in English, is a concept that is derived from the topocentric position and not the geocentric position. Okay, a horoscope is divided into 12 rashis. The complete zodiac is divided into 12 rashis, as we have known. The same representation of these 12 rashis is done in a horoscope. Okay, so a horoscope is also divided into 12 different houses, and I think you all are able to identify what a house is. If you are not, then please tell me. I will try to give an example of how to identify a house. Okay, so if you look at classics, the discussion about bhava comes after the discussion of rashis and grahas. First comes the discussion of rashi, then comes the discussion of graha, and in end comes the discussion of bhava. But because now we are not in the Vedic age and we don't have Vedic teachers, and our intelligence have also considerably fallen, and for that reason, first of all, I am going to teach you bhavas, and then it will be followed by rashi, and then in the end we will learn about graha. Okay, so bhava is basically a Hindi term. Okay, bhava means emotion. Okay, and emotion in Hindi is called a bhava. Like there is an emotion of love, there is an emotion of hate, there is an emotion of anger, there is an emotion of jealousy. Okay, so the same emotion is bhava. Okay, so whenever I tell that it is the first bhava, or it is the second bhava, or it is the third bhava, it is like an emotion of you. Like in the first house, the native is born, and after birth, a person goes through many different bhavas. Like when I talk about the emotion of love, the emotion of having a relationship, the emotion of wanting someone, then you must identify that this emotion is represented by the seventh house. Like the ninth house signifies the emotion of adoring someone. Okay, making someone your idol. The 10th house deals with the emotion of emotion of work, emotion of perfection. 11th house deals with the emotion of gaining from things. Like we want to gain something from whatever we do. Like if you do meditation, you want to gain God realization. If you do business, you want to gain money. Okay, so the 11th house is the emotion of gain, and the 12th house is the emotion of expenditure. Okay, so rather than understanding house as meaning few things, you must understand it in terms of house as an emotion. Okay, so basically this is the thing. Bhava that means emotion, and house represents a certain kind of emotion. Okay, and then after emotion comes rashi. Rashi indicates the condition. However, the rashi is not predominantly used in Parashari astrology. Okay, rashi is predominantly used in Gemini astrology. Okay, as I have told in the first class, according to me, the science of Jyotish was a complete science. There were no divisions like Gemini and Parashar and all these things. But as the time progressed further, and the intelligence of people have fallen down, and due to this reason, there have been multiple segments of Jyotish, like Vedic Jyotish and Gemini Jyotish and Tajik Jyotish, etc., etc. Okay, so with this, let me commence with this class. Okay. So basically, if you look at classics, I recommend some 10-15 classics to people who want to do astrology. However, the number of classics are, I think, infinite. We have I think 15-16 classics available to us as of now, and many classics are lost in the long span of time, and each and every day someone is finding some classic, or someone is compiling some classic. So basically, see, if you ask me what I recommend to students, I will say that I recommend only classics, not modern books, because modern books are based on the understanding of normal people, and of course the understanding of normal people can be limited, whereas the classics represents the understanding of the sages, and understanding of sages are much higher than me. So if you look at classics, the prime classics that I or any astrologer will recommend you will find that there are two type of classics. Okay, first of them are the classics like Parashar Hora Shastra, or you say Bharat Parashar Hora Shastra, or you say Loma Samhita or Jatak Parijat. These are the classics that deal with the signification of bhavas in detail. Okay, as we will know further in this class. Okay, whereas there are other classics which deals with the matter of houses in a concise manner, such as Brihat Jatak, Hora Sara, or Saravali, etc. etc. If you ask me which one is better, I will tell you the classic which deals with the signification of houses in a concise manner is better, because when you look at the different significations of bhavas and try to understand them, then ultimately your intellect will fail one day, because you won't be able to understand or memorize all the significations of a bhava. Like for example, even the book Jatak Parjat, which deals with the signification of bhavas in much detail, talks about maximum 10-15 significations of a house. But when you go to classics such as Uttar Kalamrit, which was written by a poet and not a normal person. A normal person writes something in the form of prose, but but the author of Uttar Kalamrit, that is supposed to be Kalidas, wrote it in the form of poetry, or you say Ganesh Kavi of Jat Kalankar wrote his book in a form of poetry. And as you know, in poetry there are many words that are used as synonyms. So when synonyms comes into astrology, there are more than 20-25 significations given in Uttar Kalamrit. So it is a futile exercise to try to remember all the significations of a bhava. It is better to understand what a bhava signifies by its nomenclature. Okay, and for this simple reason, I recommend classics such as Brihat Jatak, Hora Sara, and Saravali, which gives you a concise understanding of the bhavas. Because when you understand bhavas in a concise manner, you grasp the emotion related with bhava in a clear manner, rather than trying to remember so many significations of a house, which will make your approach to a house too much scattered. Okay, so this is the first point. Again, another point, Rashi and planets are given more importance. It looks like this was explained by me in the previous slide. So this is it, and the interpretation of bhavas comes very late. Even if you look Bharat Parashar, first the sage is dealing with planets, then he deals with Rashi, then he deals with again planets, and then after divisional charts and many matters of longevity and all that, after that it comes to the house signification chapter. Even if you go to the Jatak Parijat, then you see that the signification related to bhavas or the interpretation of bhavas comes very late in Jatak Parijat, in Phaladipika, in all these books the significations related to bhavas comes very late. Okay, so it looks like that sages have not given much importance to the bhava. Sages have given too much importance to the Rashi. It was also said by me in the very first class of Srishti and Avatar, chapter 1 and 2 of BPHS. There we also understand that the classification of Rashi is based on basically the division of zodiac, which is more prominent, okay, which is geocentric and more prominently used, rather than the different significations of bhavas, which is topocentric and not that much used. However, because it is the time of Kali Yuga and the intelligence of people have fallen considerably, because of that reason nowadays houses are used prominently and Rashis are almost ignored. Okay, so here comes the another important question of the Chalit Chakra and the Rashi chart. Because the intelligence of people have fallen in Kali Yuga, people have made two different charts. One is the Rashi chart and one is the Bhava chart. I was always against it. I have never considered Bhava chart is of much importance. And in the previous class of mathematical understanding of the zodiac, I gave you the reason astronomically why Bhava chart is just a futile exercise. Okay, in this class I will give you the classical hints for this, because according to me, if you make a opinion in Jyotish, if you make an opinion in astrology, it must be supported by the dictums of sages. It must be supported astronomically, and in end it must be supported by the practical observations on chart. Okay, so Brihat Jatak and Saravali is of the opinion that Bhava and Rashi is same. In the first chapter, fourth shloka and second half part of it, the author of Brihat Jatak, Varamihir, says that the word Kshetram, Griham, Riksham, Bhavam and Bhavanam all denotes the same meaning that a Rashi denote. Okay, so Kshetram means the area, Griham means the house, Riksham means the Rashi, Bhavam means again house, and Bhavanam again means house. Okay, so basically Varamihir, the author of Brihat Jatak, and Kalyan Verma, the author of Saravali, these two are very important classics, are of the opinion that the Bhava and Rashi and Graha and houses are all the same. So this is a very clear statement that the imagination of a bhava chart or a imagination of a separate chalit kundali is just bogus, and it is a futile exercise to work on that. But there must be a question in your mind that why people use them. I will say that when people are unable to ignore things because of their lack of understanding of the subject, they tend to innovate new things that are not supported by sages. This the same is the case with the bhava chart, because as I have told you, nowadays people pay very less importance to the rashi and much importance to the houses. This led them to make a separate chart such as the bhava chakra or the chalit kundali. Okay, whereas if you pay considerable importance to the rashi also, then you will find that there is no need to invent a new chart such as bhava kundali. The rashi chart and planets are enough. Okay, so I have talked about that some classics deal with the signification of bhavas in a concise manner. One such classic is Brihat Jatak, that is very important, and you will be very surprised to know that the craze of Brihat Parashar Horas Shastra have only emerged in the last 100 years. Okay, and in those parts of India where the astrological tradition is still alive, people pay very less importance to Brihat Parashar Horas Shastra. They pay extreme importance to Brihat Jatak, Saravali and Jatak Parijat. So it is always better to rely on these books of Varamihir, Kalyan Varma and Vaidyanath Dikshit rather than trusting on Brihat Parashar Horas Shastra, which is more corrupted. Okay, and these books, that is Brihat Jatak and Saravali and Jatak Parijat, are not corrupted. Their manuscripts are available and they are reliable. Okay, so in the 15th and 16th shloka of the first chapter of Brihat Jatak, Varamihir gives us some significations of some concise significations of the 12 houses, and I am going to explain it to you. Okay, try to understand bhavas using these significations only, and the detailed significations of bhavas are just deeper understanding of these emotions only. Okay, so Varamihir is of the opinion that the first house represents the body. So anything that is related to the body is seen from the first house, like its appearance, its height, weight. Okay, you are handsome or not, someone is ugly or not, what is the skin color, etc., etc. Everything that is related to body is seen from the first house. Okay, and another thing that is seen from the first house is the determinative strength. Okay, determinative strength basically means the power of a body, how much weight one can lift or how much powerful one is. Okay, however, there is another use of determinative strength, and that is, suppose you are about to analyze election. Okay, like that three people are competing for the position of say prime minister. So the determinative strength means that you need to analyze the first house of all these three charts, and the one with the strongest first house will come as a winner. Okay, so this is what determinative strength means. Or of course, the analysis of first house must not be done only on the basis of where the first house lord is and where the first house karka is. The analysis must also be done with respect to the transits and dasha principles. Of course, as you know, I pay very less importance to transits and more importance to dashas. Okay, so this is what the word determinative strength means. Okay, and the second house indicates relatives. Okay, and wealth. The third house signifies about brothers and valor. Valor is the capacity to take risks in modern life. Okay, the fourth house signifies friends and your residence. Okay, the word friend is enigmatic. The word used by Varamihir was bandhu. Okay, and basically because brothers are seen from the third house, fourth house indicates those close relationship whom you consider as your brothers. Like, if someone is a very good friend of yours, you will say that you are my brother or you are my sister. Like, so much like co-born. So fourth house basically don't indicate friends in a casual manner. Fourth house indicate friends in a very, 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 very personal manner. You can say that fourth house friend is more like a boyfriend or girlfriend or a dependable person. Fourth house is more like a best friend. A casual friend is seen from the 11th house. Okay, and the fifth house indicates sons, and son also mean everything that you produce. Okay, and the sixth house indicates enemies, wounds, and injuries. The seventh house indicates wife, also business. Now you see the wife, the concept of wife comes from the emotion of having someone, having associate, because you are not able to do anything at your own, because you are not a bacteria, you are not an amoeba, you are not a virus that can reproduce Okay, using a single body, you need a opposite person to reproduce, to produce a child. That this emotion of having someone in your life, this emotion of finding yourself incomplete give rise to the emotion of having a wife. Okay, and the same emotion of feeling incomplete to run a business give, or say the emotion of, because I have business comes later, sorry, this emotion of having someone to procreate, having a partner to run your life smoothly gives birth to the concept of wife. Okay, in the same way, the emotion of feeling lack of doing something, doing something on your own, the emotion of having someone to help you, having someone to assist you, gives you a concept of partnership in business. Okay, so like Varamir haven't mentioned that seventh house also indicates business. Okay, but he told that seventh house indicates wife. So if you understand the concept of wife deeply, if you try to understand why someone needs a wife, you will understand what seventh house can also, what seventh house can, what seventh house can signify. Like at a later stage you will learn that seventh house indicates traveling. Now what is traveling? You travel to somewhere for the emotion of finding something that is not available to you. Okay, like to say I'm traveling to say Goa, because I want to see sea there, because I live in Delhi and there is no sea around Delhi, so I can't see a sea in Delhi. I will move to Goa. So what is it? It is desire to have something that is not readily available to me. That gives birth to the the idea of travel. So this is the way how you understand the basic motivation of a house, how you understand the basic of a house, which will help you make more significations of a house. Because as you know, with time things change. Like for a common example, nowadays there is a concept of live-in relationship, but if you search for classics, there are no houses attributed to live-in relationship. So if you need to find a, so if a client comes to you and asks you about his live-in relationship, what will you suggest him? How will you answer him? Okay, so for that you need to think that what is a live-in relationship. Live-in relationship is like finding yourself incapable, wanting a partner to live with you, and that person must be very close. So you will come to a conclusion that the fourth house and seventh house must be involved. Okay, and with this understanding, you can say that suppose a girl came to me and she asked me that I am a divorced person and I am looking for a live-in relationship with someone. Will I be able to do it? Okay, so what I will look at the relationship between seventh lord and fourth lord, and if I find a relationship, then I will look for their dasha, and if they also appear in dasha, then I can say that yes, you can have a live-in relationship. Now if the conjunction is afflicted, okay, either the seventh lord is afflicting fourth lord, or fourth lord is afflicting seventh lord, or the third planet is afflicting both of them, I will say that your live-in relationship will have a bad ending. Or if they are if they are dignified, if they are protected, like say fourth lord is exalted and seventh lord is a friend of fourth lord, and then a malefic aspects them, then I will say that even though the malefic aspect is there, but still the planets are saved. So I will say them your live-in relationship will work and you can go on. Okay, so like this analysis is done in Vedic Jyotish. Okay, so I took the example of seventh house, my most favorite house. Most of the questions nowadays are only connected with the seventh house, so that's why it is my favorite house. So like this, you need to understand the basic emotion of a house, okay, of a bhava. And the eighth house indicates death, weakness, okay, and accessible point, the point when the point where if someone hurts you, you can die, you can get hurted. It is the most vulnerable point. Okay, I don't know what is the correct vulnerable, whatever vulrenable, whatever it means. Okay, and the ninth house signifies auspicious qualities of a person, moral conditions of a person, religion, father, and preceptor. Okay, so suppose a horoscope comes to you. Okay, suppose a native comes to you and he gives you a horoscope of his wife, and he asks you that I think she is having an extramarital affair. Tell me, what do you think? So what you need to do is you need to analyze her ninth house to know about the moral conditions of his wife. Now the thing is, now see, there is a confusion. The fourth house indicates 5 things here. Okay, auspicious qualities 1, moral conditions 2, religion 3, father 4, preceptor 5. So how will you distinguish between them? Because in the Rashi chart there will be one ninth lord and it can be afflicted. The affliction of ninth lord doesn't mean all the 5 conditions are, all the 5 conditions are bad in one's life, or all the 5 areas of life are troubled. Okay, so here comes the importance of the divisional charts. Okay, when it comes about auspicious qualities, you know that the auspicious qualities are related to one's nature, and nature is predominantly seen from the Drikana. Okay, why? Because sages have given long chapters on Drikana, telling about the appearance and physique of a person. Okay, and it is used mainly in the stolen articles question. When someone asks you a question about where is my stolen article, then it is used to find the appearance of the thief. However, it can be used in multiple other ways too. Like someone asks you about the auspicious qualities of a person, then you need to draw his D3 chart and analyze his 9th house, which will give you a view of his auspicious qualities. Okay, when it comes to the moral conditions, then you need to also know which moral conditions one is talking about. If he is talking about the chastity of his wife, then you need to look at the 9th house of his wife. If someone talks about that if the person have leaked the documents of office, then you need to see the 9th house of the D10. Okay, and if the person is talking about the chastity of his mother, then you need to see the 12th house, because it is the 9th house from the 4th house in D12. Okay, like if someone asks you about his religion, then you need to see his D20 for spirituality, if he is talking about his spiritual religion. Okay, but if he is talking about his physical religion, then you must go to the D27, that indicates a strength and weakness. Okay, if the question is about father, then you need to go to D12, and if the question is about preceptor, then you need to find which kind of preceptor it is. If it is a business preceptor, then it is D10. If it is a spiritual preceptor, then it is D20. If it is a educational preceptor, then it is D24. So here comes the importance of divisional charts. Okay, I will suggest you even that suppose a person comes to you and asks about his father, then please don't see the 9th house of the Rashi chart, just simply jump to the 9th house of the D12 chart, because the Rashi is too vague, and when you will understand divisional charts, you will find that Parashar have clearly mentioned us that the Rashi chart is the physical body only. So although father can be analyzed from the 5th house of the father can be analyzed from the 9th house of D1 chart, but it will be only the physical presence of the father. Okay, whereas the D12 chart will indicate, the 9th house of D12 chart will indicate all physical presence of the father, emotional presence of the father, each and everything like this. Okay, so coming to the next house, the 10th house indicates profession, honor, dignity and respectability, how much you are respected in the society. The 11th house indicates income, finance, acquisition and gain, and the 12th house indicates what? Expenditure and loss. Okay, so just pause the video here for a second, write down all these concise significations of a house and try to understand them. Okay, and try to apply it on your own chart. Okay, and explain one event in your life. Okay, if you do this homework, it will give me a good sense of satisfaction. If you don't do it, then it is your own loss only. Okay, so try to understand this, note down these concise significations and try to understand why a house signifies such a thing, and which divisional chart you need to see for which kind of things. Okay, try to do it. Okay, so after this we comes to house classifications. There are certain sets of houses. Okay, 3-4 houses are jumbled up together to signify some things, like 6th house, 10th house, 11th house and 3rd house are Upchaya houses. Upchaya means growing, Upchaya means growth. Okay, they are always improving, but they are always improving. Some says not always improving. Who is some? Okay, so this is taken from Brahjatak. Brahjatak tells us that the 6th house, 10th house, 11th house and 3rd house are Upchaya houses. First of all, the thing is that 3rd house comes first. Okay, but here the 3rd house is written last. Okay, it is only because of a reason, that is Uttarottaram. Okay, in the book Lagu Parashari there is a Sanskrit word, that is Uttarottaram, which means when more than one houses are indicated, when one or more houses are written in Vedic Jyotish, try to observe the pattern of writing of houses. Like for example, if I say Upchaya is growth, then 6th house means little growth, 10th house means greater amount of growth as compared to 6th house. 11th house means greater amount of growth as compared to 10th house, and third house means maximum amount of growth. Okay, so this 6th, 10th, 11th and third are powerful in the increasing order. This is what is meant by a certain serial of houses. Okay, I think I am clear on this. Now Varamihir writes that these houses are always improving. Some says not always improving. Who is some? So Varamihira follows Satyacharya and Yavaneshwar more than Gar. Okay, more than Gargar. Now there is a thing, some people accuse Parashar of following the Greeks. Okay, that are Yavanas. Okay, Yavaneshwar is a master from Greek. Okay. However, I am of the opinion that, see, in India there were foreign relationships since since a long time. It was even before the birth of Christ. Okay, so what happened is that the knowledge came from Shiva to Brahma to Nara, then it came to many rishis, and it was it was going in the tradition. And because in the previous times there was nothing like hiding your knowledge or doing something like this, like you may have heard about Kiro, and you may also have heard about that Kiro came to India and learned the science of palmistry from someone. So it indicates that there was nothing like the concept of I won't share my knowledge because it is secret to me, it was given to me. Indians were too much liberal. They gave everything for free. As you see in the Hindu religion, we have a great concept of charity. Okay, so the Yavanas were Greek, there is no doubt in it. However, if you try to learn the Indian history, you will know that there are some Brahmins known as Mag Brahmins or Sakaldipi Brahmins. Okay, there is a saying that these Sakaldipis Brahmins were basically Iranians. They were fire worshippers, because in those parts of Iran and Arab there is the area is desert. The area is completely desert, and the sun is extremely fierce there. So they were sun worshippers, because worship in any country is developed from the natural conditions of the country. Okay, it is like whoever punishes you, you try to worship them to appease them, for them to become benevolent to you. So they were basically fire worshippers, and Varamihir is also one of the Sakaldipi Brahmins or Mag Brahmins that came from Arabia to India. So it is very natural for him to follow Arabians. Okay, if you look at the history from a story point of view, okay, I think from story point of view, what I think is that, suppose the someone elder from Varamihir came to India, and they knew that Indians have some tradition of astrology, and they come back to the Greek part of the world and they tell people that, hey, in India there is a great system of astrology, we must learn it. And then people came to India and learned it. Okay, so there is nothing bad in adopting the views of Greeks in Indian astrology, because basically the complete astrology was originated in India. In whichever part it have traveled, it was only through India. Okay, so it is bit natural, or I can say it is not bad to to have multiple views in the astrological interpretation or astrological thought or astrological makeup of a person or of an astrologer. Okay, it is not bad to follow Yavaneshwar or anyone. The knowledge was only from India, and it is also because the understanding of people were falling. Okay, like for example, suppose I am a teacher and I know of 5 techniques, okay, and I am teaching it to 10 students, then it is very likely that some 2 students will work on a specific technique, and 2 more students will work on a specific technique, and 2 more students will work on a specific technique. So this 5 technique will be distributed to 10 students with the ratio of 1 technique being worked by 2 students. Okay, and then those 2 students will develop that technique further, and then they will teach it to their students and their students and their students and their students. Okay, so suppose the 6th generation of their student comes in contact of another student of mine which which practiced another technique of mine. So it is very futile to fight on the matter that no, my technique is correct and your technique is wrong. They were basically from the same source. Okay, so this is my view on this. Okay, however, in Indian astrology, Garga is also a sage and Satyacharya is also a sage. So basically, you can use all the techniques available, or whatever techniques you resonate with, you can use any of the technique. Okay, there is nothing like this technique is Vedic and that technique is not Vedic. Everything that is written in Sanskrit is Vedic only, or even that is not written in Sanskrit is also Vedic. Okay, the knowledge of astrology only originated from India. Always keep this in mind. Okay, however, the author of Saravali, Kalyan Verma, criticizes Varamihir at many places for owing to the views of Satyacharya and ignoring Yavaneshwar. If you read Saravali with a critical mind, you will find that the author of Saravali, that is Kalyan Verma, is more in the company of Yavaneshwar and less in the company of Satyacharya, whereas Varamihir is more in the company of Satyacharya and less in the company of Yavaneshwar. Why this happened is a topic of much debate, and to make you understand this, I must tell you a long story which I am not in mood to tell you right now. However, I am planning to write a long book on the history of Jyotish, and God willing, if I ever write that book, I will try to narrate the complete story there. Okay, as of now, I can only promise you to write an article on this topic of knowledge came from Yavaneshwara and Satyacharya, and all these different systems of knowledge came from when and where and etc. Okay. Now the second point is that the 4th house and 10th house are called Chaturastra. Okay, this Chaturastra basically means, see, if I break these two words in Sanskrit, Chatur means clever, Astra means weapon. Okay, and there are special aspects of Mars on 4th and 8th house, and Mars indicates fight and all these things. Okay, such as fight. So Chatur means clever and Astra means weapon. So 4th house and 10th house are basically the clever weapons. Okay, 4th house and 10th house are like those weapons which in your hand, under your control, can save your life, but in the hands of your enemy can take your life. Okay, so 4th house and 8th house are very 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 fragile houses. They need to be cared with, they need to be handled with care. Okay, 4th house and 8th house are those houses which always want to come over the ascendant, which always want to overpower the ascendant. Okay, the emotion related with 4th house is the emotion of comfort. Okay, and if a person involves too much in comfort, he is likely to lose whatever he have. Like if I have 10,000 rupees, but if I indulge too much in comforts, if I drink a lot of alcohol each and every day, if I spend lots of money in cars and gambling, then the money will end and my position will be lost. Okay, so this is the 4th house, and the 8th house is death. So death will ultimately take everything from you away. So these 4th and 8th houses are those matters which you always need to keep under check, because once they are out of control, the lagna, or you become on the verge of being lost or death. Okay, so this is the importance of 4th house and 8th house. And the 7th house, 1st house, 4th house and 10th house are called as Kantak, Kendra and Chatushtaya. Okay, so see, now these 4 houses, once again you see that the order is jumbled up. Why? I have already told you in the first point of this slide, so I am not going to repeat that once again. Okay, the word Kantak means thorn. Okay, thorn is basically, I will see, 7th house, 1st house, 4th house and 10th houses are considered as an auspicious houses. Okay, but the word thorn is not auspicious. The thorn as a word is inauspicious. So basically what does it means is that these 4 are the prime duties of yours in this life. Parashar mentions these 4 houses at Vishnu Stan, the houses of Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu is the god of preservance. Okay, so these 4 houses have a dual kind of philosophy related with them. Okay, first of all, you take the 7th house. Okay, the 7th house is the emotion of having a companion. Okay. Now, if you have a companion, it is a good support to you. It is a good support to your family. You can go to work and your companion can look after your house, or your companion can go for work and you can look after a house, or you both can go to work and you both can look to your house. Okay. So from a point of view, having a companion is a good thing. But from another point of view, that is neglecting your companion or behaving badly with your companion can also be bad to you. Like suppose you marry someone, marriage is a blessing, but if you treat them badly, then she may divorce you and ask for a settlement amount, and that will be a big pain to you. That will be a thorn in your leg. Okay. So you see, this house is fragile. Then comes to the first house. First house is the house of self. Till the time you realize yourself and you try to comfort yourself, the emotion of comforting oneself gives birth to the idea of working more, idea of working harder, idea of earning more money. So this is good in one sense, but overindulgence in self, overindulgence in anything, overindulgence in comforting oneself of the level of I will leave my job and I will sleep at home because I want comfort 24/7 is a bad thing. Okay. So you need to understand these houses in such a manner that these kendras, that is 7th house, 1st house, 4th house and 10th house, are essential parts of your life that you have to fulfill. You can't run away from them. If you fulfill these duties carefully, it is a great blessing to you. But if you are careless about these things, then they are a pain in your ass. Okay, it is as simple as that. Now, the another terminology used for these 4 houses, that is kendra. Kendra means the Kendra means the, what is the thing? Kendra means the squares. So basically, if you see a horoscope, if you see a North Indian horoscopes, they are like 4 pillars in between the horoscope. So for that reason, it is termed as Kendra. And Chatushtaya means the 4 things. So because they are 4 in number, the name for the 4 things is very normal. Okay. And next to these 4 angles is Panafar. That is the 8th house, 2nd house, 5th house and 10th house is Panafar houses. Okay. Panafar means filling something that is half empty. Okay. Like the first house indicates the self and second house indicates the family. Once self comes, there is a need of a society, because I can't live by myself. Okay. If a single person can't survive in this world, because a single person can't do each and everything. If you want to have a job, you must get a job in someone's company. If you want to do a business, you have to sell your product to someone. There must be someone. There is a need of a society. There is need of more than one people. See, don't get prejudiced by the word family. Always understand that the Hindu concept of family is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world is a family. Okay. So basically, the second house not comes only your immediate family, comes the whole world as a family. Okay. So with the concept of you, with the birth of I, also comes the need of a society, because separated from society you are nothing. Okay. So that is filling half of the thing, that is with respect to the first house. Okay. Now comes the thing of the fourth house. Fourth house indicates your comfort. Okay. But if you look at the concept of comfort from a philosophical point of view, I have read a story that is Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, tries to make Shiva understand that we must have a baby because everyone is having a baby. And Shiva tells her that, see, when someone is born, a man is born with some desires. Okay. A man is born with greed. And a man is such greedy that he never wants to leave his things. He never wants to leave his possessions. Okay. So what he does, he wants to create a baby. He wants to create a child that can enjoy his possessions even after his death. So in the form of a child, that's why the child is, the child is referred as a reflection of his father, because in the form of a child, he wants to enjoy his possessions even after his death. Okay, like for example, if someone is having a home, it is because he have acquired some amount of money and he know that after his death, this home will be given to anyone because he's not there and anyone can live in that home. So for that reason, because he want to enjoy that home by himself only, he have the emotion to create a child, because after his death his child will enjoy that house. Okay, so the emotion of not letting your comfort go even after your death gives birth to the emotion of having a child. Okay, so the fifth house is filling the remaining portion of the fourth house. Okay, like the eighth house is the house of death. Okay, I will explain it with a very funny anecdote. It is said that if you love someone truly, you want to die in their arms. Okay, so the relationship, so the concept of companionship, so the concept of relationship comes with living together till the end of the life, living together forever. In Indian thought, there is also a concept of, you know, marrying the same spouse for 7 lives. Okay, suppose I married someone in this life and I am bound to marry her in the next 7 lives also, then I marry her in the next life also, then more 7 lives, more 7 lives. So this circle of 7 lives never ends. You always remain with the same bride. Okay, you always remains with the same wife. You always remain with the same soul, until and unless you get a liberation. Liberation comes from celibacy. When you deny that, no, I don't want to live with this wife, oh God, help me, please make my soul free from the grasp of this another soul which binds me from this Maya. Okay, so the eighth house fills the half filled emotion of the seventh house. Okay, in the same way, the 11th house, that is the house of gain, fulfills the emotion of the 10th house, that is work. Because why do you work? You work to gain something. You work to gain money. That money can buy you a lot of things. That's the reason you work. Okay, so this emotion of 11th house is half filling, or I can say is completing the emotion of the 10th house. Okay, because you are working to gain some money. Okay, so this is the importance of Panfar houses. Panfar houses are half filling houses. Panfar houses are those houses that comes. Panfar houses are basically the, you know, the after effects of a desire. Okay, you can understand it in this way. Panfar houses after effects of a desire. After achieving something, you want something more. That is what Panfar house indicates. Okay, and then comes the Apokalima houses, and the Apokalima houses is the restriction point, I will say, because after Apokalima once again the Kendra will come. Okay, so Apokalima is more like try to understand it in this way. The Kendra is your basic need. The Panfara is more than that need, and the Apokalima is the loss of that extra. Apokalima is throwing you back to the basic condition. Okay, for a common example, first house is yourself, and the second house is world as a family on a large scale, and then the third house is Velar. If you are valorous, like think it in terms of king. Okay, like you are a person, you want to become a king, so you want to rule over a lot of people, but there are other people who also want to rule on a lot of people. So with this comes different kings, and then when there are enough amount of kings, the earth is filled with kings. So you want to acquire more land, but that land belongs to someone else. So you go and show your valor and kill that king and acquire his land. Okay, so what this third house does is that this third house kills your second house. Okay, and then throws you to the basic condition of the fourth house, that is the comfort. Okay, after acquiring someone's land and after engaging too much in this bloodshed battle of acquiring others' land, what you want in your life is peace. When you acquire peace, when you make a big palatial house for yourself, a big palatial fort for yourself, you want to have a child. You want to have a child to enjoy that palatial building even after your death. Okay, but the concept of death comes very later. Basically what you want is that you live in this house and there are many different rooms of this house, and those rooms of this house must also be acquired by someone, and you want to give it to someone else. So you want to produce a children who can give in this house. Basically you don't want to die. But then comes the concept of the sixth house, which gives you disease, which makes you weak, and which ultimately leads you to death. Because if you don't die and your children also don't die, then this world will be filled with lot of population. Then where will people live? So this sixth house cuts the importance of the fourth house and gives you and throws you back to the condition of the 7th house. Okay, then comes the 7th house of having a companion, because now because now you know that you won't be there to live for forever. You want to be invincible. You will die one day, so there will come a concept of having someone who will die with you, because you don't want to leave your possessions, and you know that your son came very late in life. Okay, so your son won't die with you, your son will die sometimes later with you, but you are so much greedy, you want someone to die with you too. A person is a complete storehouse of greed, so you want someone who will die with you. Even for that reason you have a wife, and with your wife you want to die with your wife. Okay, that is your 8th house that I have explained just some minutes ago. Okay, and then comes the concept of 9th house, that is the fortune, because sometimes the wife is not died but she is separated. Fortune does this to you, because fortune somewhere wants to control you. Fortune somewhere wants to control on your greeds, because once you have one wife you will try to have more than one wife. Then comes the importance of the 9th house, that is your moral conduct. Then comes something like morality. You can't have more than one wife, you can't have more than 2 wives, or you can't have more than 3 wives, 4 wives, whatever, according to the religion you follow. Okay, so then comes the concept of having a moral conduct. Okay, one man engaged with only one woman, one man not engaging in monogamy, or bahuviva, what is it? I think it is said polygamy, sorry. Okay, so one man not engaging in polygamy, one man restricted to monogamy only. Okay, this is the importance of the 9th house, because you need to somewhere the desire arising out from 7th house have to be stopped. Okay, then comes the 10th house. 10th house is your emotion of work, and 11th house is your emotion of gaining more and more money. Then 12th house comes as a concept of loss, because if you don't lose your money, then you will become extremely rich person. You will become the richest person of the world, and in the long way everyone will become the richest person of the world. Then how will others earn? Suppose I am the first person in this world who have a lots of money. If I don't spend that money, how will others become rich? For others to become rich, I must give my money to someone else. Why I will give my money? I am a greedy person, I want something in return. This gives you the concept of loss. This gives you the concept of trade. This gives you the concept of business. Okay, so like this, the Kendra is your basic motivation. Okay, the houses next to Kendra, that is your Panafara, is addition to your basic motivations, that is your greed, and Apoklima is killing of your greed and throwing you back to the original position. Okay, so in this way you need to understand these 3 sets of houses. It is very important in analyzing a bhava or reading a bhava. How it is very important, we will learn it in the example classes. There are 2 classes with the title How to Read a Horoscope. Class 1 and class 2, we will utilize this concept in a greater detail in Rashi chart and other divisional charts in those 2 slides. Okay. Okay, so these are the special significations of houses given in Bharat Parashar given in Bharat Jatak by Varamihir. These are basically the Arabic words, and I don't know their meanings, to be very honest. Okay, however, I will try to interpret meaning of these words according to my experiences with these houses. Okay, if anyone comes forward and gives the real meaning of these houses, I am very much sure that they will be according to what my experiences supports me. Okay, however, if it is not, then it doesn't make a difference for me, because as far as I know, no one knows the real meaning of these words, because the Arabic dictionary, I think, is lost to us as of now. However, if at other point of time I came to find the real meaning of these words, I will be very happy to share them with you. Okay, so the 7th house is basically 7th house is given a special name named as Dhyun. Okay, so Dhyun seems to be a Sanskrit name, but I haven't found its meaning. So if I try to look for a Hindi equivalent of this word, what I will found is Dhun. Dhun means Dhun can also means Divanapan. It is being mad about something. Okay, see, there is I had a Hindi teacher. He asked me a question that, Shubham, tell me what is the difference between a lover and a mad person. Okay, and I was unable to answer. Of course, I was in the 6th standard then. Then he told me that the mad person is insane about everything, whereas the lover is insane about only his beloved one. Okay, so the Dhyun, that's his Hindi equivalent is dhun, is a word that is being mad about a specific thing. Okay, so this is a special attribute of seventh house. Okay, and the special attributes of 10th house is agya. Agya means order. Meshuran, according to me, Meshuran means the feathers of a peacock that makes his dance very beautiful. So in this context, Meshuran means the special achievements of a person about whom he is proud of. Okay, and 10th house is also given a special name, that is karma. Karma is any work that we undertake. So basically, see, I always tell a thing that doesn't matter how many dhani yogas or raj yogas someone have in his horoscope, if the combination is not supported by or is not influenced by the lord of first house or 10th house, or if the yoga is having no connection with first house or 10th house, it is very futile to have that connection in anyone's horoscope, because it is not going to work. Okay, you will see many horoscopes when there are so many dhani yogas, but it is not working in someone's life. It is only because the dhani yogas are not connected to first house or 10th house or their lords. Okay, in that situation, a person may have many wealthy persons around him, but he himself may not be wealthy. Okay, this is the importance of the first house and 10th house. They are very, very important. If you are in my Dasha Bheda course, I have talked about the special Raj Yoga emanating from the relationship between first house and 10th house, and it is very important. Okay, why I use this word, that even if someone comes with a Arabic dictionary and finds that the meaning that I am giving to these Arabic words are not in consonance with what is the real meaning of these words, is because whatever I am interpreting these words to mean is in accordance to the normal significations of these houses and my practical observation emerging out from reading of many horoscopes. That is the reason I made this very egoistic statement, if you categorize it like that. Okay, and fourth house indicates hibuk. Okay, hibuk according to me means the concept of luxuries of heaven. Okay, that is indicated by fourth house, because as we have learned before, that the fourth house indicates comfort and closed ones. So when you are living in comfort with your loved ones, it is heaven in earth for anyone. Okay, and fourth house indicates Ambu. Fourth house is given a special name, that is Ambu, and Ambu according to me means mother. Okay, because there is a word in Hindi or Sanskrit, you can say, which is Amba, and Amba means mother. So basically Ambu also means mother. Okay, and Ambu can also mean sky. Okay, because Ambar is a word used for sky. So if it is sky, then it means that the sky over your head, that is your own home. That is also a concept arising out of the emotion of having comforts. Okay, and a special name given to fourth house is also Sukh. Sukh means comforts. It is a simple Hindi word. And the fourth word used for the fourth house is the Veshm. Veshm according to me means a protecting layer, protective covering. Okay, and that is also in consonance with the basic understanding of fourth house. Okay, the special name given to seventh house is Jamitra. Jamitra basically means a wife. It is a Sanskrit word, so there is no confusion there. Okay, and the fifth house means Trikonam. Trikonam means trine. Okay, it is more astronomical word and let an astrological word, because when you see the first house, fifth house, and ninth house in a single view, or when you draw a line from first house to fifth house and fifth house to ninth house and ninth house to first house back to the starting, then you will find that they fall in a kind of trine. So for this reason the fifth house is termed as trine. Okay, and the third house is referred as Duschikyam. According to me, Du means Dukh, Chik means Chinta. Okay, so Dukh is misery and Chinta is worry. So basically the third house indicates misery and worry, because as we know that the third house is the house of failure, and third house is also an always increasing house. So if you want to increase your powers with the use of failure, it is bound to come with miseries and with worries. So This is a special name attributed to the third house, and these special names help us understand these houses deeply. These houses in a more in-depth manner, because as I have told you before, your understanding of houses owes a lot to your astrological interpretation skills, because if your understanding of houses is poor, don't expect that you will ever understand Vedic Jyotish, or you will ever be able to be a very good astrologer. Okay, to become a very good astrologer, your understanding of Rashis and your understanding of Bhavas have to be very much accurate and deeply rooted. Okay, and the special houses given to ninth house is Tapa. Tapa means, what I will say, Tapa means, basically Tapa in the Sanskrit word means Tapa is, see, literally Tapa means penance. Okay, so it is working hard for something, giving your 100% to something. That is Tapa, that is ninth house. And ninth house is the Trikonam. Okay, as I have told you before, if you draw a line from first house to fifth house to ninth house, and ninth house to first house, it will make a kind of trine. Okay, so that it is the third house of the trine, so it is called Trikonam, that is trine's trine. Okay, so these are the special names given to these 6 houses, and these names are given only to give us a deeper understanding of these houses. So please also note them and try to understand the concept related with these houses in a philosophical manner. Try to understand these houses as different approaches or different emotional needs or different emotions arising out of a person's personality or a person's mind or a person's heart, whatever you may term it. Having learned the signification of all these 12 houses in a concise manner, now I am going to give you the signification of all these 12 houses in a detailed manner as given in Jatak Parijat. Okay, in the next 4 slides. Okay, try to note them down in your notebook and try to read them. Okay, trying to understand all the significations will help you have a better understanding of the emotion related to a house. Okay, so here we go. Lagna is the first house that gives us information about body. Hue, that is the color of the skin. Form, that is long, short, etc. Characteristics, that is what one likes or dislikes. Fame, the Lagna is very important. Okay, I have talked to many astrologers about the combination about fame. Okay, about the combination of fame, and most of the astrologers nowadays who pose themselves as great teachers, etc., they just copy the techniques of an astrologer and try to tell it in their own names. Like you ask anyone about the combinations for being famous, and everyone will tell you that if the moon or Jupiter is having a connection with first house or seventh house of Arud Lagna, then it will make oneself famous, and one will pose that it is his own technique, whereas this technique is popularized by Pandit Sanjay Rath, and I don't pay too much attention to this technique because it is mentioned nowhere, unless and until something is discussed by an sage himself. I am not going to believe anyone. Okay, any Tom, Dick and Harry can come in astrology and make a new rule. I won't. See, these comments are not for Pandit Sanjay Rath. I owe a lot to him. Okay, he was one of those very few teachers who made my starting understanding of Jyotish, although I'm not following him nowadays. Okay, because I have some strong technical disagreements with him. However, it does not make me somewhere superior to him. He is a senior and I'm a junior. This is a fact. Okay, however, what I want to emphasize here is that one must not imitate the techniques of someone else. Only please, to my students especially, I request you to only focus on the teachings of sages and not on the teachings of any person, whether he be anyone. Okay, try to find something told by the sages. So as we have know that the sages attribute the signification of fame to the first house, so it is very clear that if in anyone's horoscope first house is stronger, first house is powerful, first house is in strength, then the person is bound to get famous, and if the first house is weak, then one will not be famous. For example, you can see the horoscope of Amitabh Bachchan, where the Lagna Lord Saturn is in the 4th house, aspecting the 10th, aspecting the Lagna with his 10th aspect. He is famous. See the horoscope of Dr. B.V. Raman. His Lagna Lord Saturn is in the 4th house, giving his 10th aspect to the ascendant, making him famous. See the horoscope of K.N. Rao. He has Venus in Lagna, who is also his Lagna Lord. He is famous. In that way, see my horoscope. I have Saturn in ascendant, who's my ascendant Lord. I can wish that I become famous one day. However, okay, jokes apart, the Lagna also signifies qualities that a person have, happiness or unhappiness. Okay, this happiness or unhappiness is the general outlook of a person, whether he is happy or not. Okay, his residence abroad, the splendor of the native, and the strength and weakness. Okay, so these are all the significations of houses, but they are interpreted in a different way. Like for example, the interpretation is done in two different ways. Okay, one type of interpretation is according to the strength or weakness of a house, and another type of interpretation is with respect to different planets. Okay, and how to distinguish between them, there is a very thin line. Like for example, body, the first signification of the Lagna, that is body. So everyone have a body. Okay, so there is no, there is no question of if someone have a body or not. Everyone have a body. So the quality of the body is, is different according to the influence of different planets on the horoscope. Like for example, Mr. K.N. Rao have Venus and Moon and Mars in his ascendant. So Venus and Mars give him a strong sexual appeal. He's handsome. Okay, whereas Moon makes him fair in color, bright in color, like this. Okay, so everyone have a body, everyone have a hue, everyone have a form, everyone have a characteristic. Okay, everyone is either happy or unhappy. Okay, everyone is either strong or weak. So all these things are dependent on the aspects that the ascendant receives, the influences that the ascendant receives. Whereas having fame or residence abroad is something that one can have or one may not have. Okay, so these things need to be seen, that if the ascendant is strong, then one will have fame, or one can have, sorry, if the ascendant is strong, then one can have fame. If the ascendant is not strong, then one won't have fame. Okay, one will live just a normal life. Okay, now comes the thing about residence abroad. Now it is a two level analysis. When we talk about the residence abroad, first you need to see that is the residence abroad promised, that will be seen by not only by the influence but by specific influences of planets. Because see, the residence abroad have to be signified by the 12th lord, 8th lord, 7th lord and 3rd lord. So if these planets are having a connection with ascendant, then it may indicate as residence abroad, because the Lagna indicates the native physically. So if he is living somewhere outside his homeland, it must also be signified by the first house. This is the basic reason behind including this residence abroad signification to the first house. Okay, then comes the Dhana Bhava, that is the second house, which indicates wealth, visual power, that is eyesight, ease, that is the ease that you have in life. Is your life easy or hard? Okay, your learning, your speech, household and food. Okay, so the term learning needs to be explained here. As you will go further, what you will find is that 4th house also indicates learning, and the second house also indicates learning. So the learning related to second house is the basic learning that comes from the family. Okay, like for a common example, suppose I am born in a family of astrologers. So the study of astrology is from the second house. Okay, suppose I am born in the family of businessmen. So my business skills, my learning in the business skills comes from the second house. Okay, so this is the basic trait of the second house learning, which is different from the learning denoted by other houses, as we will see in the next slides. Okay, and next comes the Vikram Bhava, that is the 3rd house, that indicates welfare of elder and younger brothers. Some people are of the opinion that the 11th house indicates the elder brother and 3rd house indicates the younger brother. However, as it is very clear from this shloka of Jatak Parijat, that welfare of both the elder and younger brother is to be seen from the 3rd house. However, the birth of the elder brother can be seen from the 11th house, but the overall general analysis of how brothers are placed in one's life, anyone have a brother or not, how is anyone's relationship with his brothers, needs to be seen from the 3rd house only. And as I have already told in the previous slide, that it is not to be seen from the third house of the D1 chart, but it is to be seen from the third house of the D3 chart. Okay, and it also indicates enterprise. So when we talk about enterprise, it is third house of the D10 chart. It also indicates about daring, and when we talk about daring, it is once again the third house of the D3 chart. Okay, now and then comes voice. Okay, voice is a physical attribute, that is the third house of the D1 chart. Then comes the tone. Tone is an attribute of voice, that also comes to the D1. Okay, and then ear is also signified by the third house. Okay, selected ornaments, that one wear is also seen from the third house. Articles of apparel is also seen from the third house. Steadiness is also seen from the third house. Valor, strength, edible roots and fruits, everything is seen from the third house. Okay, some people are of the opinion that the all eatable things are signified from the second house only. However, second house are only those food which comes naturally to you. It is the food obtained from vegetarian food, that is normal, whereas the food signified from the third house is a non-vegetarian food. Okay, there is a basic difference between the emotion of second house and third house. The emotion of second house is of society, is of comfort, and the emotion of third house is valor, and the emotion of the third house is courage. So if you want to eat non-vegetarian food, first you need to kill an animal. Okay, this is the basic instinct of having a non-vegetarian food. So the food indicated by the third house is the food derived from valor. Okay, that is after killing an animal, that is non-vegetarian food. Whereas the food of the second house is a completely vegetarian food. You don't need to kill a tree to have a fruit. You can just stand on the tree and pluck the fruit up. Even if you don't pluck the fruit will fall one day, and then it will be of no use. So you are not harming the plant in plucking out fruit, whereas you are harming a animal if you kills him for his flesh or for his meat. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the signification of food as respect to the second house and third house. Okay, and I will add one more thing in second house here. The second house also indicates gemstones. Okay, so before recommending gemstone to any native, see beneficial influences on his second house. If his second house is devoid of any beneficial influences, then giving him any gemstone will be complete disaster to him. This is the first point. Another thing is gemstone of any planet which afflicts the second house or which afflicts the second lord is extremely detrimental to the native himself. So keep this thing in mind always before suggesting a gemstone. Fourth house is also known as Sukha Bhava, that indicates acquisition of learning. Okay, so till now we have learned that the second house indicates the traditional learning that comes from the family. Okay, it is the practical aspect of learning. If I belong to a business family, then I learn business practically, that is the practical learning. If I am from an astrologer's family, then my learning of astrology is more practical and less theoretical. So the second house indicates the practical learning, whereas the fourth house indicates the acquisition of learning. That is someone going to acquire some kind of learning, that is going to your guru. Okay, this is indicated by the fourth house. So it is more of a formal learning and not a kind of automatic or practical learning. Okay, fourth house also indicates welfare of mother, happiness, sweet smelling, that is odor. Okay, sweet smelling and odor is also indicated from the fourth house. Fourth house also indicates happiness. Sorry, this word is repeated. Okay, it indicates substance, that is all those substance that you can touch from your hands, that you can hold in your hand, is signified by the fourth house. Okay, fourth house also indicates kinsman, as I have already explained when we were talking about Varamihir, that the fourth house indicates bandhu, that is a very fast and close friend. Okay, the fourth house also indicates relationships. Okay, here I will make a comment. Those of you who are a bit mature in Jyotish, you will know that people try to see love relationships from the fifth house. I never see love relationships from the fifth house. Why? This is the reason. See, Jatak Parjat clearly tells us that the relationships are seen from the fourth house. So why you will look at a relationship from the fifth house? Okay, this is the irony of today. This is the irony of astrologers not reading classics but posing themselves as Jyotish gurus. This is the irony of nowadays. Okay, so I will always tell you that please refrain away from such gurus and such kind of approach in Vedic Jyotish. If you want to learn Vedic Jyotish, if you want to practice Vedic Jyotish, learn from a classical guru, okay, and learn from classics. Don't take words of anyone without consulting classics. Always remember that sages are much more intelligent than a normal human being. Okay, and fourth house also indicates mental attributes, royal vehicles, lands and houses. Okay, not only royal vehicles but every kind of vehicles come into fourth house. Okay, in the ancient times, having a vehicle was very common. Everyone had some kind of vehicle. Even the farmers had their oxes to ride on them. So only royal vehicles were considered. Whereas nowadays everyone is poor, so having a vehicle is luxury nowadays. Okay. And the fifth house indicates the tutelary deity that one worships. And when we talk of deity, the mantra also comes. Okay, because the mantra is the mantra is just a thing to go near to your deity or the realize your deity, to appease your deity. So the tutelary deity and mantra both comes in the fifth house. It also indicates your sovereign, those who think good for you, your well-wishers. It indicates your son. Okay, it indicates your father. The thing is that it is not your normal father, but it is the grandfather, because it is the fifth from fifth. Okay, this fifth from fifth, that is known as Bhavad Bhavam. Some people take it in an illogical way. Okay, like you will see many times that people use this Bhavad Bhavam too directly. Here it is a very clear hint that, see, the author Vaidyanath wrote father to the significations of fifth house. Okay, according to my understanding, the word father is used here in the sense of grandfather. Okay, because fifth house is your father, so your father's father will be fifth from fifth. Okay, that is your that is your grandfather, not great grandfather, sorry, that's your grandfather. Okay, so this concept of Bhavat Bhavam is the same thing from the same thing. Like the father of father comes in the fifth, like the father of father comes in the ninth from ninth house, that is the fifth house. Okay, like you see, the first house indicates you and seventh house indicates your wife. So the seventh from seventh is the first house, so the husband of your wife is you only, है ना? So it is like that. In this way you need to understand the concept of Bhavad Bhavam. Okay, those of you who are well versed with, who know what is going in the astrological world today, you will see a lot of people using Bhavad Bhavam for just anything. When a person is unable to justify any event in a horoscope, they just go and take the shelter under the name of Bhavad Bhavam. Okay, no, having, my basic motivation of starting these courses was to take people out from such rubbish teachings. Okay, because if you don't know the difference between a bhava and a bhavad bhavam, or to say, if you don't know the basic difference between a bhava and bhava from bhava, how will you succeed as an astrologer? Okay, so these things needs to be kept in mind always. Okay, please don't forget these things. Don't misuse techniques. Try to understand the difference between techniques. Otherwise, you will be lost in this great ocean of Vedic Jyotish. Okay, the fifth house also indicates intelligence and the religious merit that one will have in his life. Okay, so the next house is the sixth house that indicates disease, enemies, bad habits, and the hurts. Okay, and if someone is hurt, that hurt is also indicated by the sixth house. Okay, next comes the seventh house. Seventh house indicates any kind of journey that one undertakes in his life. The seventh house also indicates sun. Okay, now why sun? There is another thing about this. Okay, so there are two concepts related to bhava. One is bhavad bhavam, that is the bhava from the bhava, as we have seen just now. That we have seen just now. The ninth from ninth is the father of your father. Okay, the another concept related to bhava is making the bhava as an ascendant. We will learn it in detail in the first class of how to read a horoscope. Okay, basically what sages recommend us, what Varamihir recommends us in his Brihad Jatak, was Vaidyanath Dikshit recommends us in his Jatak Parijat, what Mantreshwar recommends us in his Phala Deepika, is that when you need to analyze a house, when you want to analyze a house, make that house as an ascendant and read all the houses like you read the normal horoscope. Okay, this is the basic condition for analyzing a house. Nowadays you will see that what astrologers do is they take the 8th house from ascendant and they will say that the 8th house is in the 11th house, so it is damaging the 11th house, it will be bad and the prediction will fail, because the 8th house from the ascendant is basically the 10th house from the 11th house, so this is not a bad combination. Okay, so for this reason I always pay more emphasis to reading and understanding the words of sages, because what the sage is doing is they make the they make the house as the ascendant to read the effects of the house. Okay, this is what needs to be done. Okay, having said this, now imagine that the 5th house is your first child. Okay, so the 7th house is third from the 5th house. Okay, that is the brother of your children. Who will be the brother of your children? That will be your second son. Okay, so for this reason the son is given as a signification to the 7th house. Okay, and 7th house also indicates wives. Okay, now this word is very important. The sage have not used the word wife, he used the word wives. Nowadays there are many controversies about which house indicate second wife, and when you look at Jyotish, when you look at astrological classics, you will find no mention of the second wife. I was so perplexed when I learned this. I was like, when the sage have told about the stepmother, why they don't talk about second wife? Okay, the stepmother is seen from the 6th house. Okay, it is given in Bharat Parashar Horasastha that the stepmother is seen from the 6th house. Okay, I have not edited here, sorry for that, but I just told it right now, so you just now know it. Okay, so I was perplexed that the stepmother is seen from the 6th house, but there is no house for another wife. So how will you find in the horoscope of the father of the native that he have a second wife? So this sloka gives answer to the same thing, that the 7th house indicates one wife, two wife, three wife, or how many wife a person have. There is no need to have more than one house for a wife. It is very simple, like if planets indicating more than one influences the 7th house, then the person will have more than one wife. Okay, it is very simple for that. Like a common example, if you go throughout the mathematical portion of Jyotish classics, the Ayurveda chapter, you will find that Varamihir in his Ayurveda chapter gives us a hint. He tells us that if a planet is exalted, thrice the period given by him in the longevity section. If the planet is Vargottam, double the life given by him in the longevity section. If a planet is debilitated, then half his span given in the longevity section. So what does it mean? It means that exaltation indicates triple, own house, and Vargottam indicates double, and the debilitation indicates half. So it is very simple. Like if an exalted planet is connected to the 7th house, then one will tend to have more than one wife. If so it is like that. It is like this. It is very simple. And when you realize this thing, when you realize the importance of the word wives, you will also understand the whole the whole propaganda of uneducated teachers becoming gurus in the astrological world of 21st century. It was started from the 20th century and it came to the 21st century. Okay, so this is the irony nowadays, however. Okay, so 7th house also indicates enjoyments. Of course, the process of having a wife is quite thrilling for many people. That's the reason they marry more than once. They want to have that thrill once again in their life, and this is one of the reasons why 7th house is also a Marak house that gives you death. And the 7th house also indicates son's worldly comforts and miseries. Okay, why? Because it is once again the 3rd house from the 5th house, that is the veiler of your son. So if one is valorous, one will have worldly comforts, and that will also give you miseries. Okay, and I think I have explained this matter in detail when we have learnt about why the 3rd house is called Duschik in one of the previous slides. So I don't think I must give you another long lecture on this part. Okay, so the signification of 8th house is not given in Jatak Parijat, so I have taken only the signification from the Bharat Parashar Horasastha. Why I have not taken the signification of other houses from Bharat Parashar Horasastha is only for a simple reason that I have told you before, that Bharat Parashar Horas Shastra is more corrupted as compared to other Vedic astrology classic texts that seems to be not corrupted. This was the reason behind ignoring Bharat Parashar Horas Shastra. Okay, so according to the Bharat Parashar Horas Shastra, 8th house tells you about age, how much you will live. It tells you about the fights one will have, the fights of kings that they have to win countries, and nowadays the court cases and those battles that can probably tell to you that can cause death to a person. And 8th house also gives you information about the past and previous births of the native. Okay, how to know the past and previous births of a native is once again a very deep topic. Okay, what you just see, I will tell you a thing. Here comes the importance of one of those very prime divisional charts. Like, if you know that there are at a total 16 divisional charts, but they are they are differentiated in different segments. Like, there is Shadvarga, that is combination of 6 divisional charts, and there is a Saptvarga, they are consist of 7 divisional charts. Then there is Dasvarga, that is consisted of 10 divisional charts, and then there is Sorasvarga, that are consisted of 16 divisional charts. So if you look at them, the basic concept of Shadvarga is with 6 divisional charts. These 6 divisional charts are very basic divisional charts, that is D2, D3, that is D2, D3, D9, D12 and D30. Okay, so these are the very basic and very fundamental divisional charts, and I think their calculations is also considerably different from each another. So whenever the question of past and previous birth comes, and suppose I need to examine someone's past birth and someone's previous birth. Okay, sorry, past and previous birth, no, it must be past and future birth. Sorry, I'm extremely sorry for this writing error. Okay, I will improve it. Okay, so suppose I want to know about someone's past and future birth, that is to be seen from the 8th house. Okay, so what I will do is that I will make the 8th house as ascendant, and we'll see each and every planet. Okay, now I will make 2 divisions of a horoscope depending on the degree of the ascendant. Suppose, for example, my ascendant is in 12 degree. Okay, so I will divide each and every sign in 2 parts, that is a hora. Okay, that is 0 to 15 degree one part, and 15 to 30 degrees the next part. So whatever planet will become in the first part, that is for the case when the Lagna is in 13 degree, the first part is 0 to 15 degree. I will take that planet to indicate the previous house, and whatever planet will be in the second hora, that will be from the 15 degree to the 30 degree, I will take it to be in the next life. Okay, so for example, suppose I have Jupiter and Sun in the 11th house. Okay, now I want to know that what this combination will give me. Will it give me a lots of money, or does it indicate that I need to work hard to have money? Like, see, try to think it like this. If I have done good deeds in my previous life, then this combination will make me rich in this life. Or if this combination indicates about future life, then it means it is a kind of free will for me to do hard work to make myself rich in this life and have good karmas to become rich in the next life also. Okay, so suppose I have 2 planets in the 11th house. One is Jupiter at 6 degrees and another is Sun at 27 degrees, and my Lagna is in 13 degrees. So I know that Jupiter is in the past life section and Sun is in the next life section. So what I can say is that this person have done much good deeds as related to the 4th house. Okay, that is 11th house is 4th house from the 8th house. So I can say that this person have done some very good deeds in his previous life. So he have done good deeds of having the Jupiter in 4th house. He was a great worshipper of Devi Shakti Mahadurga, and he will have lots of comforts in this life. However, his own karmas or his his karmas in this life, his deeds in this life will be bad, which will promise him a which will promise which will promise him bad comforts in the next life. Okay, why I'm telling this, there is a try to understand it. Jupiter is a benefic and Sun is a malefic. Jupiter in fourth house indicates good comforts in this life. Okay, and Sun in fourth house indicates bad comforts in this life. Okay, that is because Sun is a malefic and Jupiter is a benefic. Because now I have Jupiter in the previous life part, I can say that in previous life I have done good deeds, so I will enjoy good deeds in this life. But in the part which indicates my next life, there is Sun, so it will say that in this life I will make such deeds that will give me a bad which will give me misery in the next life in terms of comfort. Okay, so I think I'm clear on how I am interpreting this thing. If you are not getting what I did with this technique, just try to write it to me in the Facebook group and I will be very happy to answer it. Okay, next house is the ninth house, which indicates about fortune, power, father or other such elderly persons, good works, strict observance of duty and other such general welfare. Okay, good works is those meretricious deeds undertaken by a person for the welfare of society and which gives you good karma. Okay, strict observance of duty is penance. Okay, as you know, the ninth house is the house of the temple and house of the meditation and all these kind of things. Yes, there are many fools in astrological teaching market which tells you that the 8th house is spirituality and 8th house is the kundalini and 8th house is the meditation. But as it is very clear from the signification of strict observance of duty, the use of the word strict observance makes it very clear that 9th house is the house of meditation. And I am also making this statement keeping the fact in mind that the 10th house makes the greatest of the sannyas yogas, the greatest of the pravajya yogas, greatest of the ascetic yogas. Okay, because what I have told you just now, if you take the 9th house as a kendra, what we have learned, if you take 9th house as the kendra, then the 10th house will be the panafar. So the result of 9th house will come from the 10th house, because the 10th house is second from the 9th house. Okay, so the result of doing penance is what? Is having liberation. The effect of doing penance is what? The effect of doing penance is to have ascetic lifestyle. Okay, so I am interrupting is from two different points of view, and both the points of view proves this, that the 9th house is the house which indicates spirituality and taking spirituality and meditation and all these things, and it is not the 8th house which indicates these things. Okay, so this is one more example of what rubbish teaching is being taught in nowadays astrological market. Okay, and other such general welfare, that is other such good deeds that one does in this life that is not spiritual, that is giving someone something, donation. Because why I use the word donation, because if you donate something to someone with an intention of having a good karma, then the virtue of the donation is lost and you get no good karma. Okay, this is a very simple funda in Indian thought. Okay, but still, because it is a good deed, it is indicated by the 9th house. Okay, next is the 10th house, that indicates authority, honorable rank, ornaments, apparel, activities, sleep, agriculture, retirement from this world, beneficent acts sanctioned in scriptures. Okay, sorry, beneficial acts sanctioned in scriptures, means of livelihood, fame, knowledge of the special arts and learning generally. Okay, so authority we understand, honorable rank we understand, ornaments are those things which one wear to to show himself authoritative. Like if I start wearing a 24 karat gold ring, then you will look at me and you will think that this person is really rich, this person must have something, this person must have some political power. Okay, so it is that kind of ornament. Okay, and the apparel is also of that kind. Like if I start roaming here and there in a tuxedo, then you will think that I am a businessman. Okay, so it is that kind of apparel. Activities is normally understood. Okay, sleep here means the comfortable sleep that comes after having a status in life, the sleep that comes with comfort. Okay, and the normal disturbed sleep is seen from the 12th house. Okay, so you can also say in a way that if the Dasha Lord is connected with 12th house, then you can say the person is having a troubled sleep because his life is in misery. And if the Dasha Lord is connected with 10th house, then you can say the person is having good sleep because he's living comfortably. And if the Dasha Lord is not connected with any two of these houses, then you need to find which kind of sleep he's having using other tools. But however, in the 99% of the cases, the Dasha Lord will be connected to either 12th house or 10th house. Okay, if you know how to read relationships between planets clearly. Okay, if you don't, then don't worry. There is a class named Sambandh in our course, so I will teach it in detail. However, when a planet is connected to both 12th house and 10th house, you need to just find which relationship is stronger. Okay, retirement from this world is a kind of death, and you will be very surprised to find that along with first house and 8th house, first house is your body and 8th house is death, the 3rd house and 10th house is also used in the matters of longevity. Okay, although I am not teaching longevity in this class, so I am leaving this topic altogether. However, I will just give you a hint right here that the strength of 10th lord indicates the person is long lived or short lived, along with the strength of 1st lord, 8th lord and 3rd lord. Okay, next is beneficial acts sanctioned in scriptures, that is, charity, donation, giving shelter to someone. All these things which results in good karma is seen from the 10th house, and also all those activities that results in bad karma is also to be seen from the 10th house, because 10th house basically indicates all kinds of karmas. Okay, means of livelihood we understand, fame we understand. Fame is also seen from the 1st house, and fame is also seen from the 10th house. So whenever someone asks you about if he can become famous or not, you just need to see his 1st house and 10th house, and if the 1st lord or 10th lord is strong, or if any strong planet is expecting or influencing the 1st house and 10th house, then the person can become famous. If not, then not. Simple as that. And also these things help in the rectification of a horoscope. Like for example, you come across horoscope of a famous film star, and you see that his 1st house and 10th house is having no connection with a strong planet. No strong planet is having connection with their 1st house and 10th house. Then you just simply know that this horoscope is wrong. And if you see that if his lagna changed to the next sign, then a strong planet will come to his 10th house or 1st house, then you just change the ascendant to the next sign and just fix the horoscope. Okay, so you see the complicated technique of rectification is very easy if an astrologer is well versed with the basic techniques of astrology. Okay, now the last signification is knowledge of the special arts and learning generally. What does it means now? The 2nd house indicates the practical knowledge that you have through family. The 4th house indicates the formal knowledge that you gain in the school. The 10th house indicates that knowledge which is important for your work. Like for common example, I am having bachelor's in philosophy. The bachelor in philosophy course includes English, Sanskrit, logic, philosophy, and say it also includes say Hindi. So basically my profession is of astrology, and what is going to help me is my knowledge of English, my knowledge of Sanskrit, and my knowledge of philosophy. The knowledge of logic won't help me, because the logic I am using in my astrological career is nowhere related to the logic that is being taught to me in my college. Okay, so all that information, all that learning that is useful in my profession is seen from the 10th house. Okay, so suppose someone tells you that he wants to do an MBA to have a job in a banking sector, you just need to check his 4th house and 10th house all together, and you need to find if they are having influence from Mercury and Venus. If not, then the person can't pursue MBA. Okay, and even if he pursues after having a lot of remedies, then he won't be able to make a career in banking. Then he won't be able to make a career in the education that he had. Okay, so whenever a child comes to you, or parents of a child comes to you for educational guidance, always pay attention to the 10th house. See the planet related to their 10th house, especially in D10 and D24. D24 talks more of education, and D10 talks more of the professional life. So here you need to use two different divisional charts at the same time. Write all the planets influencing the 10th house of D10 and write all the planets influencing the 10th house of D24, and find a common planet which influences both these houses either directly or indirectly. Okay, now what do I mean by the word directly and what do I mean by the word indirectly is, see, a planet situated in 10th house, a planet aspecting 10th house, a planet situated with Lord of 10th house, a planet aspecting Lord of 10th house is a direct relationship with 10th house. Okay, a planet situated in the sign of planet B and that planet B aspecting the 10th Lord or the 10th house is a kind of indirect relationship. Okay, so using this both direct and indirect relationship, try to find a common planet which influences the 10th house of D10 and 10th house of D24 and advise the student to go in that field. If you find more than one common planet, then take the strongest between them. Now the strength of a planet is to be decided solely from D1 and not from any of these divisional charts. Okay, be very clear on this. Even if you want to decide the strength of a planet from any of these divisional charts, then trust more on D10, because you are talking about his professional life and not his educational life. His educational life is going to terminate one day or another. Okay, so this is the technique of using cross analysis between two divisional charts. I think I have given you a big secret. You must contemplate on this, especially all those students who are not beginners but have learned have learned the science of astrology for some time. Okay, the next house, 11th house, indicates accumulation of incoming wealth. Okay, basically it indicates any kind of gains, be it in the form of wealth or in barter system, any kind of gains that you have, the gain of a wife, the gain of a girlfriend, the gain of a house, the gain of anything comes from this only. So like many a time you have to decide what will happen. Like for example, there is a dasha of a planet related with 4th house and someone asks you that will he be able to purchase a vehicle. So the answer can be yes, you will be able to purchase a vehicle. Okay, and now suppose the person already owns a vehicle and he asks you, will I be able to buy another vehicle? So there is a perplexing situation. Okay, the dasha is related to the 4th house that indicates vehicle. Now two conditions can arise. One can purchase a vehicle or one can lose a vehicle. Now what will happen? To know this, you have two techniques. Okay, first of all, you can see if the dasha lord is influencing the 4th house or 4th lord in a negative manner or a positive manner. If the planet is influencing the 4th house or 4th lord in a positive manner, then it is gain of a vehicle. If he influences the 4th house or 4th lord in a negative manner, then it is loss of a vehicle. This is the first technique. The second technique is, you see if the dasha lord is related to 4th house and 11th house, then it is gain of a vehicle. If the dasha lord is related with 4th house and 12th house, then it is loss of a vehicle. Okay, so these are two types of techniques. Okay, so as I have told you before, don't try to remember the signification of these houses. It is a futile exercise. Try to understand the emotion related to these houses. This understanding of emotions related to any house will give you the magical touch in astrology that you always want. Okay, next house is the 12th house that indicates wandering far. Okay, that is the settlement in foreign lands. It indicates misfortune. It indicates evil doom, that is evil deeds you commit in previous life or this life, any life. It indicates liberation. It indicates comforts of bed. Okay, as we have learned that the 10th house indicates the good comfort of bed and the 12th house indicates the bad comfort of bed. But here the comfort of bed basically means with the copulation part of one's life, the reproduction part of one's life, and the sharing of bed with a partner of opposite gender. Okay, and it indicates dignity. Basically dignity is from the 10th house, that indicates a person having good dignity, and the dignity from the 12th house is the loss of dignity, that is losing one's dignity. Okay, and waste of wealth, that is expenditure. Okay, so this is indicated by the 12th house. And so till now we have learned the concise signification of these 12 houses and the detailed significations of these 12 houses. And I think now you people are, after listening to this complete video for 3-4 times, you will be able to understand the basic motivation of a house, basic emotion of a house. Okay, so you just need to remember these significations, and in the coming 2 classes we will learn about the Rashis and planets, and with this our basic understanding of astrology will be complete. And then I will give you 2 classes on interpretation of a horoscope with real life examples that will help you in understanding the crux of how a horoscope is read. Okay, the last point that I have added here is Bhava Karak. Okay, Karak is the doer of things. I will tell you something right here, right now, that see, the house is the emotion and planet is the living being. My 9th house indicates my emotion of having a father. Okay, whereas the sun being a planet indicates my physical father. Okay, this is the basic difference. This difference is everywhere. This difference is in D1, this difference is in D12, this difference is everywhere. Like emotionally, my father may die, and my father may die when I am an infant and I can grow up with someone else. Then until and unless my mother tells me, I won't be able to recognize who my father is. I will always think my stepfather as my real father. So the physical presence of my father is seen from a planet, whereas emotional concept of father is seen from the 9th house. Now 2 planets will indicate this father. One will be the 9th lord and another will be the sun. Okay, that is the karak of the that is the karak of the 9th house. This is the first work of the karak. Okay, so the lord of the 9th house will indicate my real father, that is my concept of father, and my real biological father, that is my 9th lord. Whereas the sun is my concept of father, but he may or may not be the real father. Okay, this is the basic difference between the significator and the house lord. House lord is primarily connected to the house, whereas the significator is the thing that creates that emotion for that house. Okay, so I think I am clear on this. I will repeat it once again. The 9th lord will indicate my real biological emotional father, whereas sun is my emotional father. He may or may not be my biological father. Most of the cases he is, in some cases he is not, and if that is the case, it will also be clearly indicated in the horoscope. This is the first thing related to karak. Another thing related to karak is this, that karak is the basic motivation. Like for example, Venus is the karak of the 7th house. Now if you read about the significations of Venus, you will find Venus very much to be womanly. Okay, so basically, why do you want to marry someone? You, first of all, a child don't want to marry anyone. Okay, as he grows up, he find a different gender, and that different gender have all the qualities that he doesn't possess. Like the opposite gender is emotional, he is not emotional. The male is not emotional, the female is emotional. Okay, the male is not tender, female is tender. So because he has some tender emotions inside him, but he can't show it to the world, but the female is more able to show the tender side to the world. He wants to have a female companion in his life. So this emotion of having a female companion comes from the karak. Okay, so in this way the karak is very, very important. Okay, affliction to karak may damage the house badly. Remember this point very, very carefully. I think many of you know that there is a complete system of astrology based on karakas known as Nadi astrology. Why I don't engage in Nadi astrology is because the Nadi astrology only looks at a single thing looks on a single criteria of interpretation, that is karak. Although karak is very, very important. Okay, I just made a very strong statement that affliction to karak can completely destroy the house. It can make the house disappear. Okay, so karak is very, very important, but karak is of course not everything. Okay, because there is always 2 sides to the coin, so it is like this. Okay, so you need to understand karak in two different ways. First of all, karak is the thing which generates the emotion. Okay, so first of all, karak is the motivation behind the emotion, bhava is the emotion, and karak is the motivation behind the emotion. This is the first thing. Okay, and another thing is karak is also the thing that fulfills your motivation, like we have learnt in the example of the sun indicating the emotional father, whereas ninth lord indicating the biological father. Okay, so basically the seventh lord is your real wife, whereas the Venus is your dream wife. Okay, so these are the two basic conditions of a karak. Okay, and these two basic conditions is also distinguished at two places. Okay, the placement or condition of karak in a divisional chart gives birth to the emotion. Okay, like the condition of Venus in D9 gives birth to the emotion of 7th house, whereas the condition of Venus in D1 gives birth to the dream wife, to the concept of dream wife. Okay, however, this rule have many exceptions. We will learn about it in the interpretation of the chart section. Okay, but it is a it is a very what I can say, it is a very important but difficult kind of rule. I think I need to write a complete big article to make you understand this basic concept. However, as of now, keep this in mind, note it down somewhere. Okay, at the right time and at the right place I will explain this. Okay, so the karak of the first house is sun, the karak of the second house is Jupiter, the karak of the third house is Mars, the karak of the fourth house is moon. Some people also take Mercury as the karak of the fourth house of learning, but I am very clear. Okay, the karak of fourth house is only moon. The karak of fifth house is once again Jupiter. The karak of sixth house is Mars and Saturn, depending on the condition. Okay, which condition and what condition we will learn in the planets class of this course, that is the third class from now. Okay, the Venus is the significator of the 7th house, Saturn is the significator of the 8th house. Saturn is the significator of the 8th house. Jupiter and Sun is the significator of the 9th house. Mercury, Sun, Jupiter and Saturn is the significator of the 10th house. Jupiter is the significator of the 11th house and Saturn is the significator of the 12th house. Okay, so these are the basic significators of the 12 houses, and we will learn more about them in the Graha class, in the planets class of this course, which will be the third class from now. Okay, so as of now, just note down all these points that I have made in this slide and try to read them and reread them and try to listen to this recording, which is very much boring, I know, more than once, to have a in-depth understanding of this subject, because this understanding of house, understanding of Rashi and understanding of planets is very important, because these three are those basic building blocks on which the complete building of Jyotish is standing. So if you don't get these three basic concepts right, your interpretation will always fail. Okay, so with this I bid goodbye to all of you. I am ending this video here. Okay, have a great learning experience, and if you have any problem, any doubts, please feel free to ask it in the Facebook group of Jyotish-Prarambha. Thank you and good night.